Hi, hello. Welcome to another episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is May the 21st, 2025. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Happy Wednesday, happy hump day to ya. Hopefully you humped and didn't get humped, unless that's what you're into. By all means, whatever. But I'd say for me, I did a little of both today. Today was good, y'all know how an episode's gonna go, or at least you know how a little my blog's gonna go if I word it like that, right? Longtime listeners know. It was a good day overall. I definitely got to say that, but we had some struggles, we had some pangs. I had woke up and overall I felt fine at first, but I kind of knew I was going to be in for a little bit of some, gestational constitutional trouble. I was going to have a constitutional crisis in my stomach, pretty much is what I'm getting at. I will say, I guess, a little bit of pre-food corner from last night. I got inspired. I don't know why. I was just feeling that I wanted some pasta, and then the thought dawned on me. I remembered my dad. He, especially like towards the end, he was a very consistent eater. He would like pretty much just eat macaroni salad. That's all he would eat. And I remember at first I was like, dude, this is the worst. Like, so he'd have me like buy him this like macaroni salad out of a box, and he would just make it because it was super easy for him to make. He liked eating it. He wasn't doing like any meat add on or anything like that, just eating that every day. And it's like, Dad, you have like diabetes. This probably isn't the best, but like he would eat it and he was fine enough. He was happy enough with it. Every once in a while, he'd have me like go get him something from the local diner. Shout out to Pearls, rest in peace. But this was like a staple meal for him. He loved it. And like I've gotten into macaroni salad a little bit, so like I can appreciate it more nowadays. But I was just feeling so inspired, and I'm like, I want to make my take on a macaroni salad. I want to make a chicken macaroni salad tonight. And that is what I set out to do. So essentially it was a lot like my chicken and rice bowl. We just subbed out some pasta, some elbow mac, and I sauced it up, in my opinion, very well. I liked what I did with the place. We had like a mayo kind of relish, mustard base. I slapped in some pesto, some capers, swirled it all up, made it all up, and then kind of ran that through the pasta. Oh, and then I also added, and this is where we get a little spicy, get a little international with it. I added some gochujang and some chili flakes because that's just what I normally will do with the rice. And like I said, mix this all up. Added some more, spice, like some hot sauce, and what else? Some sriracha. And then I have this thing. This is my little. I don't even want to say it's a secret. It's just a signature. Is what I like. The mango habanero sauce from BW3's. Yes, BW3 sucks. Boo! It sucks. It's so ass. Blah 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 blah. I don't care. I don't care. It's not about that. It's about that damn sauce. I love that sauce so much. I put that shit on damn near everything. So good. It has the right amount of like spice. Like it makes me sweat, but like especially if I eat enough of it. But it also to me tastes good. So that's why I fuck with it. So this pasta had it going on. It was amazing to me. I was loving it. I was feeling the flow. But what I was not feeling was the day after. I was feeling terrible. And this is a food day. They're actually treating us today. And it's like Asian like a Pacific Islander, like it's the appreciation month, and so our job wanted to show out with a little meat treat, a little food for us. And I say meat treat, it was a lot of rice. A lot of rice was involved. We had some brown rice, we had a lot of white rice, we had some curries, a couple of chicken situations, a little sweet and sour action. There was a little sweet ball. I got like half an egg roll. I mean, my plate was towered. Hopefully you follow the socials, like I say, like I often pitch to do, because I be posting. Granted, you do have to be kind of maybe low down and be on Snapchat sometimes to catch the real food. You know what I mean? When I'm drunk on a bender, when I'm doing my thing, I'm posting on Snapchat. Maybe you're lucky and it's on Instagram, but like more times than not, it's the Snapchat. But it was just like a pile of food. And of course, like my coworkers see this and they're laughing. And I'm like, yeah, you know me. You know how it gets down. You only get one shot, one opportunity. So, I pig out on that. But like before this, I'm just in pain. I'm in pain. I'm like, and I actually I got lucky. This is another reason why it was a good day, and I know it wasn't a bad one because it wasn't very busy at work, and I had really good coverage. Like there was someone working my job before I even got in there. They were working it from upstairs. So I guess they were either slow enough for that, or they just really were just wanting to be on it because yesterday was so bad. I didn't get into it, but the compactor filled up because they were late on a pickup. So naturally that made things really messy spaghetti, but I just didn't want to talk about it. That being said, I was just good coverage, not that many buggies, but I'm moving slow. I'm hitting up the bathroom multiple times. It's not good. Like this macaroni salad is just not agreeing with me. It wants out. And yeah, I had to free the beast, and I was not feeling well, and I was upset. It kind of put me in like an emotional bag. Like I was in this situation, and this is just you're living in my head now. We're just talking about shit. Where one of my coworkers from maintenance, they didn't want to eat the food, so they gave me their ticket. And in essence, giving me a quote unquote an extra ticket, right? So I can do my little scam. I wasn't planning on scamming. Y'all know I'm trying to stick to this diet. I feel very blown out from this week in general. But I wasn't gonna scam. But that being said, I still want 2 tickets, and it's the principle of the thing. And my lead did not get me my ticket. They forgot about me, and I was kind of salty, y'all. I was kind of upset. I was kind of stewing and brewing about that. Like, surely, my peer, he won't forget. They won't forget, and they did. I was salty as mug. But hey, it wasn't that big of a deal. I inevitably got my pile of food that I just described to you. Oh, also noodles were involved. Of course there were some noodles. But yeah, overall it was good. It was yummy. Just full report on it. I enjoyed it as I often do. Y'all know I love some free food. I'm not gonna complain too much about it. But like I just went through the ringer. And then I ate all that food, and now I still kind of feel gross now, and I'm gonna feel gross probably till tomorrow. So I was carrying that weight quite literally, and of course from work we go to the gym, and I gotta say I got through I want to say most of my weight training, and I realized I was like lagging behind, like I just wasn't hitting it as fast as I normally would have, so that means I was kind of just not I wasn't being as efficient, I guess. I was being maybe a little lazy, a bit of a sloth, a bit of a slob. I don't know. And that kind of got me back in my head again. And I was like, man, I'm not even doing well on my workout today. Schmeep schmurp, blah, blah, blah. So I was cooking myself a little bit. But then by the time I got through halfway through my cardio, I'm sweating now. And I'm like, look, this is why I do what I do. This is why I have the setup that I have. So that when you have these bad mental or physical days, you can always hit it hard again the next day, and on your overall for the week you did good. Now I'm not saying that that's for everybody, but this is for me. This is my path, fitness wise, and I really do love how I do it, so to speak, even on the days that are bad, because I know like I'm overall getting good momentum for my week. And I was glad that at least as of so far, because I actually still have like some more fun food nights ahead of me, I think, knock on wood. We're doing pretty good, and I'm happy with that. And overall, once again, I'm saying today was a good day. We're going to bump it as a good day. I was just in my head for part of it, and I just felt like shit for part of it, and that sucked. That sucks. And once again, I'm probably going to feel like shit tomorrow. So, it's the tummy time. It's the bad tummy time. But yeah, it's definitely given me an appreciation for my diet that I've been on. At first I hated it. I was kicking and screaming getting into this, but I would say I've had some of my best like stomach weeks, intestinal weeks, whatever you want to call it, since I got on the diet on the days I stay on it. And the worst days I have are when I go back to the old me and I eat like a medium pizza Or, I eat a crazy, burger. I have a crazy bender night and I drink and eat whatever the fuck I want and I eat too much. Like, those are the harder days. Whereas, like, the days where I'm just eating my chicken and rice with my little veggie, yo, that's the best. That's the best. And let me tell you, before we get into the startup, I know I'm yapping a little bit extra today, but why not? It's my podcast. I can do that if I want to. I got a compliment from an op at work and it made my fucking day. Like, and I say op, I use that word very loosely. This isn't a person I actually have big beef with. It's not like we're gonna fight or anything. It's not like this person is my enemy. But like, they snitched on me one time and I never forgot it. Blood runs cold, okay? The body keeps a score. And I've kind of had beef with this person for like a while, but the ice has been thinning. And we've had a little bit more dialogue, a little bit more like, hey, can you help me with this? Can you do this? Da 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 da. Okay, I got you. Type beat. And so for them to actually say, hey man, you losing weight? You been working out? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, it shows. And I was like, thank you. Of course, I mentioned like, hey, I'm eating a lot of chicken and rice, blah, blah, blah. I'm making a whole conversation of it. We're fucking damn near should be next to a water cooler the way we talking. So look, dude, peace talks with the op. Shit, how could it be a bad day? How could it be a bad day? Anyway, all right, enough blah, blah, enough yappity yap. Let's go ahead and take our startup and let's get into some news. Let's talk about some shit. There's been actually, and I say this often, right? So much news. Like, I hate leaving news on the floor. You know what I mean? I want to cover everything, all of it, all the time. I wish I could just be a one-man like news channel and I could just go on and on and on and on and on, and I would just take little breaks and then I'd come back and talk about more news, or I'd have like a live stream and we just talk about news all the time. That would be that's my like fantasy end game. That's what I would love to do for a living. You know what I mean? Not that hey, mashing some trash while I listen to some podcasts is great, but like, I would love to just do this. That would be sick in a perfect world. Anyway. Ooh, yeah. All right. All right. All right. All right. Ooh, sorry. My computer went to sleep waiting for me to get started. Okay. Ooga. From the BBC. Trump ambushes South African president in Oval Office with claims of white persecution. Dude, we're back talking about white genocide again. I should put it in quotations there, white genocide. In an extraordinary Oval Office meeting, Donald Trump confronts South Africa's leader with video over discredited claims of white genocide in South Africa. Trump says white farmers are fleeing South Africa and plays footage showing people chanting, kill the Boer, kill the farmer, which is like, they're talking about a white Afrikaan in that situation. Responding to the footage, Ramaphosa says the chants don't represent government policy. And then they reiterate a group of 59 white South Africans recently arrived in the U.S. where they will be given refugee status. There's also going to be more coming down the way. Now, I gotta say, this is one of those situations where, like, the two of the worst guys are just hanging out, and you're like, you gotta kind of pick one to root for, right? It's kind of how this is. And maybe some people are saying, like, well, why do you have beef with like Ramaphosa, right? And once again, this is a reference. This is a deep cut for my long-term listeners. One of the earlier stories I covered out of South Africa when I got started was a corruption bribery situation with Ramaphosa, and I felt very duped. I felt very naive because I'm like, damn, like, surely this guy who's like friends with Nelson Mandela, like, surely this guy would never be on the take. Surely he wouldn't do anything bad or untoward. Like, no, like, of course not. There, he's being set up. And then I just kept seeing more and more stuff, and I was like, Nah, I don't think. I think he took that shit. I think the money was his. I don't think it was planted, and I felt like a rube because I didn't cover it that way. And it was a humbling moment for me. It was an eye opening moment for me. A good reminder when I was a little bit more green behind the gills. Now I'm less green, just stupid. But that being said, I like how Ramaphosa handled himself in this situation because he essentially was in the Zelensky press. Like, this is now what we are doing with this Trump administration. Is if Trump doesn't like you, or if Trump wants to take a moment and make an example out of you or whatever, he gets you in this invite to this Oval Office, and you gotta mind your P's and Q's, because if you don't, you're in the shark's den. Like, it's not just him, it is like his fellow staff. Like, in this situation, Elon Musk was in the room, even though he's supposed to be taking, some time back. Granted, it does make sense why Elon Musk is here, because Ramaphosa in his staff has come to kind of make some deals, right? This is how you wind up here. You're trying to schmooze. You're trying to, shake some fucking hands. But you have to go through the ringer here, right? And like I said, we talked about with Zelensky. Technically, we did mention Keir Starmer the other day. Part of the reason why, he's kind of made through with the tariffs because, like, once again, he's been making all these fucking deals. He's been like coming on hands and knees and being like, Trump, you're so cool, you're fine. Let's work things out. Let's be chill. So when he came here, there really was no kerfuffle, no fluff. But with Ramaphosa, he had this whole fucking thing that he had to maneuver through, and he came through knowing he was gonna have to do this, knowing what the tension was gonna be, and he came through with gifts. I want to say this. I think it was a 14 karat gold golf book, I think, or maybe it's 14 kilograms, and I'm just stupid with the English measurements or whatever. It's probably a 14 kilogram golf book. That makes more sense, right? The gold book does seem so Trump, right? But let me not say the wrong thing here. I don't need to do extra correction corners. So he tried to give him gifts or whatever. In the moment of this little tussle over the video and whatnot, he kind of like further adds like, I'm sorry I don't have a plane to give you. And I also love this because the retort from Trump, you kind of get a little bit of just like, of course, this is who he is. He's like, well, I wish you did have a plane. We could totally use another Air Force plane. Knowing he's got this whole Boeing jet, we're about to talk about that again in a second, but like he has this whole Boeing jet that he got from Qatar as a fucking gift to his administration or whatever, put that in quotations or what have you. But it's like, oh no, you can totally bribe me. I would love that. Like, he's just so open-faced sandwich about that shit. And it is at this point to me very funny, you know what I mean, that the conversation can be diffused like this, that he is just this kind of person and he's unabashed about it. It's like, you're in the throne room, fight for your life. Like, that is what this is. And I would give credit for Ramaphosa for getting through this shit, because it could have came out way worse. That being said, how do I feel about the video? Yeah, it's unfortunate, like, but I understand why tensions are like this. I understand why this shit is as high as it is. That being said, what is being displayed here is not a genocide. It's just not. You can call it other things, but it's just not that by definition. So it's very frustrating that this is what this administration is using. I think I was listening a day or so ago, the Daily was covering this, and you literally can see a Tucker Carlson interview where like some motherfuckers from South Africa come do an interview with Tucker Carlson where they try to make this whole like spiel and this whole big deal. They've been on this international campaign pushing this fucking propaganda, and Trump sees it and then immediately starts yapping about it on like True Social, and of course he comes through and tries to deliver on that principle here. So I mean, yeah, I mean, we'll see if there's any more updates out of this. I don't know if Ramaphosa got his wish in terms of like currying the favor and getting the deals he wanted to get out of the situation. For Trump, I think he did get to make his little presser, to say, hey, look at all this evidence now I'm showing you. Look at all this proof of this white genocide, this persecution. That's why they have to come here and hang out in Iowa. I don't know. I don't know where all these guys are going to go. I have a suspicion, my suspicion hat is on, that, and maybe this is not a suspicion, maybe this is like, I want it just to happen for the pod so I can just have the story to tell y'all. But like, surely they would send some to Ohio, no? Like, they've got to go to Iowa, they've got to go to Florida, they've got to go to Florida, of course, right? That's perfect, like, Afrikaner territory, no? Let's see, where else? Once again, Ohio. I think Ohio's definitely got to be a place. Like, we were definitely like pro-Trump here, unfortunately. So I don't want it to happen, but like it'd be kind of funny if it did, right? I mean, I don't really care at the end of the day. I care more about it in terms of like just referencing episode prior where we talked about this shit. The idea that like we are not accepting other refugees, but we are accepting these quote unquote refugees, it's very upsetting. It's very off-putting because it's like, once again, the shit that other people that we are denying, and we're saying and then his response to that, like, because they're asking questions. This is kind of how this all gets prompted throughout the whole thing. But essentially, Trump was like, we do let people in. Like, people are coming into our country illegally all the time, and then we're trying to send them back. And it's like, brother, in the same sentence, you're dispelling what you're trying to say. Like, oh, we're still this open country. We still are letting people in. No, we're letting in exactly these white people, and that's it. Like, what are you talking about? Like, it's very frustrating to see this shit play out on a daily basis. But, you know, we got to do that shit. We got to cover this shit. Anyway, I mentioned this new, this new plane, this luxury plane, from CBS News. Pentagon says it has accepted Boeing jet from Qatar that will be used for Trump. So, looks like we're taking it in. We're saying yes to the dress. The Defense Department said Wednesday it has accepted a Boeing jet from Qatar that will be retrofitted and used to transport President Trump. Pentagon spokesman Sean Parnell said in a statement that Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth accepted the Boeing 747 in accordance with all federal rules and regulations. It's all good because, hey, I'm Pete Hegseth and I approve it. I mean, you can just do that. That's how this works, right? I don't know. The Department of Defense will work to ensure proper security measures and functional mission requirements are considered for an aircraft used to transport the President of the United States, Parnell said. Excuse me. The New York Times first reported that the Pentagon had accepted the jetliner from the government of Qatar. Skipping ahead a little bit. Hegseth acceptance of the plane comes days after sources confirmed to CBS News that the Qatari royal family will be donating the aircraft for Trump's use. The gift was first reported by ABC News. Valued at $400 million, the jumbo jet will be donated to Mr. Trump's future presidential library just before he leaves office. Mr. Trump told reporters last week that the Qataris are giving us a gift, and lamented that the current plane used for Air Force One is nearly 4 decades old. When the president is aboard either of the 2 Boeing aircrafts that are a part of the presidential air fleet, its call sign is Air Force One, according to the Air Force. Now, I do want to read this quote because I think it's kind of funny, and dare I fucking say it, a little based. If we can get a 747 as a contribution to our Defense Department to use during a couple of years while they're building the other ones, I think that was a very nice gesture, Mr. Trump said. Now, I could be a stupid person and say, oh no, we don't want a free plane. Like, and don't get me wrong, do I think this is on the level legally? No, I think that at the end of the day, this is a kind of gift that it's like you're giving yourself up to potentially be influenced. Why do it? We don't need to do it. But it's like, for Trump, in his mind, it's like, I've been bitching about this. I was bitching about this last time I was in fucking office. These planes are too fucking old. We need a new one. We look dusty. We look gross. Like, this should be shaking and shit and coming up in the air. And like, no, fuck this shit. Like, we should have like all gold everything. This shit should be new. And like, I'm not saying like, oh, like we totally do need a baller ass fucking new plane. But like, I just don't give a shit about this. Like, on my priority list of bullshit that this administration is doing, vile, morbidly, fucking disturbing shit that this fucking administration is doing, them getting gifted a fucking big luxury jet, I just don't care, dude. Like, currently they're trying to like shove through this crazy ass fucking bill through Congress, and I'm not even covering that because I would just rather wait for the fucking turducken to get done, and then I talk about how bad we're fucked off of that. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, there's just bigger fish to fry in the fryer, and here I am talking about this stupid ass jumbo jet. Like, I'm so glad though that Democrats are like scrambling around. Adam Schiff's talking shit. Like fucking Ricky Torres is like actually doing something not for Israel for once. Like that's super cool. That's super fucking cool that they're really getting active, right? They got their fucking trainers on for this shit. But like it doesn't matter. It just doesn't fucking matter. You know what I mean? And guess what? He is right. That shit is dusty. We look whack. We need to get a better plane. Like that shit should have been done. It's crazy also that it's still a Boeing. Like yeah. Anyway, whatever. Enough Trump talk. You know, clearly I'm just in the weeds about that. I'm swirling. Let's go ahead actually take a water break, hydration station, and let's cover some more serious stuff. Not that the fate of America isn't serious, but I'm over here talking about jumbo jets. People are sadly getting murdered. So it goes. Okie dokie. From the BBC. Gunman kills Mexico City mayor's top aides in roadside attack. A gunman has shot dead two top aides of the mayor of Mexico City, Clara. The two aides of Mexico City, Clara Brugada. The mayor's private secretary, Zima Guzman, and Brugada's advisor, Jose Munoz, were killed on their way to work on Tuesday morning local time. Witnesses said an armed man first opened fire on Guzman, who had stopped her car by the side of a busy avenue to pick up her colleague, and then on Munoz, who was about to get into Guzman's car for the morning commute. The gunman is believed to have escaped on a motorbike and have had at least one accomplice. The possible motive for the killing is still unknown, but the attack is the latest in a series of murders of local politicians across the country. Mayor Brugada was visibly upset during a news conference when she recalled how she had shared dreams and struggles with her two aides over the years they had worked for her. She said she would ensure the murders would not go unpunished. President Claudia Sheinbaum was informed of the shooting during her daily morning news conference by Security Minister Omar Garcia Harfuch, who has himself been a target of an armed ambush in the past. Also worth noting, because I picked this up off of where did I pick this up? I can't remember where I picked this up off of. I think it was the BBC, but like the podcast, where she was actually mayor of Mexico City, and also that this is like a number two power position in Mexico. So it's like the president and then the mayor of Mexico City. It's kind of like a little bit of like a pathway kind of thing, because that's kind of the way Scheinbaum came up. Also, they are both in the same political party. Scheinbaum described it as a deplorable incident and offered Mayor Brugada, who is from the same party as the president, all the support she may need. Police seized a motorbike and another vehicle they think was used in the attack, while forensic experts examined Guzman's bullet-pierced car. CCTV footage from a nearby building shows a man carrying a motorcycle helmet in one hand and a gun in another approach Guzman's car from the front. He fires through the windscreen, then shoots Munoz before again firing at Guzman. As he runs away, he turns and fires another shot at Munoz, who is collapsing on the pavement. Let's see. Brugada, 61, was elected mayor of Mexico City in June of last year. Let's see here. And I think that's more or less where I want to leave it for right now. If I do get more details, I definitely will come back and we'll update the story. But there was another shooting, another killing, this time in Spain, from the Associated Press. An advisor to an ex-Ukrainian president is killed near an American school in Spain, officials say. An advisor to former Ukrainian President Viktor Yanukovych was shot to death Wednesday outside the American School of Madrid, where at least one of his children was enrolled, Spanish authorities and witnesses said. Andriy Portnov, 51, was shot at 9:15 a.m. as students were arriving, Spain's interior ministry said. Portnov was a former politician tied closely to Yanukovych, the pro-Moscow president of Ukraine from 2010 until he was ousted in a popular uprising in 2014. After shelving plans to bring the country closer to the European Union and instead deepen ties with President Vladimir Putin's Russia. Yanukovych's ouster in February 2014 followed a brutal crackdown on anti-government protesters, with dozens of people killed, many by police snipers. Portnov was deputy head of the presidential office in that period and was involved in drafting legislation aimed at punishing participants of the uprising. Ukrainian authorities opened a treason case against him, which was later closed, and he also was subject to of U.S. sanctions involving corruption in Ukraine. Ukrainian officials did not immediately comment on Portnov's killing. Witnesses said Portnov was shot several times in the head and body by more than one gunman when he was getting into a Mercedes-Benz registered to him, police said. The unidentified assailants then fled on foot, and local media reported police helicopters later flew over a nearby park. Portnov died in the parking lot with at least 3 shots to his body, Madrid's emergency services said. Let's see, scrolling ahead a bit here. After fleeing Ukraine in 2014, Portnov reportedly lived in Russia in 2015 before relocating to Austria. It wasn't immediately clear when he moved to Spain. In 2018, when pro-Western Petro Poroshenko was president of Ukraine, the country's security service, or SBU, opened an investigation against Portnov on suspicion of state treason, alleging his involvement in Russia's illegal annexation of the Crimean Peninsula. I don't know why I tried to say that with an accent. I did not mean to. The criminal case was closed in 2019, 3 months after Vladimir Zelensky came to power. There's more here, blah, blah, blah. They actually go into a bit of recap on some of the other assassinations we've covered with Daria Dugina, Vladlen Tartarsky. We've covered him. That was a crazy, I believe, bombing. That was some spy movie ass shit. But this mostly reminded me, and I didn't remember it until I saw the name, the death of Maxim Kuzmanov. He defected in 2023, but he died in a shooting death in Spain. And I was like, this is so familiar. And it's on the tip of my fucking brain. And I saw this shit, and I'm like, damn, yeah, it's like, I don't want to say back to back. I mean, technically it's 2025, so years have gone by. But, like, damn, like, the motherfuckers are not missing. They fucking hitting these shots. Now, granted, I don't want us to put on my suspicion cap. I don't want to point fingers, say it might be this person or that person. You know what I mean? I'll let the outlets do that, and maybe we'll come back to the story for more. But let's move on. Let's cover one more thing. I know I've jam-packed this episode. It feels very thick today. Maybe not. Maybe this is kind of average at this point. You know what I mean? It's the weekday. We usually do episodes around 30. You know, it is what it is. I do miss the 20s. I miss the 20 era. But we get that on the weekends. You know, sometimes it's short and sweet. No, sometimes, hey, we even have like a little 6-minute episode where I don't even talk about news. Anyway, we got a good news part here. You know what I mean? Someone's getting freed. So, isn't that neat? Isn't that cool? Let's go ahead and close out with our last break, and then we'll close it out. The whole thing. The whole kit. The whole caboodle, if you will. Oh, man. Oop. Bonk. Ooh-wee. All right. Our last story comes from CNN. American veteran released from imprisonment in Venezuela. An American Air Force veteran has been released from imprisonment in Venezuela, a U.S. official and the man's family said in a statement Tuesday. Joseph St. Clair was released to U.S. Special Envoy Richard Grenell. The family statement said, I don't know why I said that sentence that way, but hey, it happened. St. Clair had been detained since November and was one of 9 Americans declared wrongfully detained in Venezuela. The news came suddenly and we are still processing it, but we are overwhelmed with joy and gratitude, Scott and Patty St. Clair said. The details around Joseph St. Clair's release were not immediately clear. There is some blah, blah, blah that I really don't care about, and the story's pretty much over. I would like to know what Venezuela got out of this. That's really what I kind of care about in terms of this situation. I almost want to bet, once again, now I'm putting my speculation cap back on. I bet this was a, quotations, goodwill gesture from Venezuela, because we've had this fucking very frustrating, situation where we are just detaining, we are, more or less kidnapping people and booting them to either like other countries like El Salvador or whatever, and we're trying to kick them back to Venezuela. I imagine that maybe this is something to try to ease tensions there. Maybe it's tariff related, who fucking knows? Maybe it's sanction related, who fucking knows? But once again, maybe this is a goodwill gesture from Venezuela to maybe kind of make some chains move, make some motion. I don't know. But we'll see. Time will tell. I would like to get more information on the motivation there, on how this release got done. But I mean, hey, I'm happy to see people get out. I don't care who you are. I don't care what's going on. Being in prison, especially when you ain't do shit but just going to another place or you're doing another thing, I mean, it just, that sucks, right? I mean, yes, military operator. We've had some of these stories before. That's not new, and you can have your beef and bones with that. Of course, fine, cool, whatever. I don't care. But like, once again, freedom. It's cool to not be jammed up in another country, right? Right, dude. I don't know. I'm just not that sweaty about it, folks. Not at this point. I'm 34. I'm 34 and tapped out. I just want to talk about the news. I'm not here for sparking the revolution, brother. Oh, we've talked about that before. I'll save that for another time. Anyway, that's all I have. That's it. That's the episode. Here's hoping that I don't have another stomach problem to come talk to you about for the next 24 hours. For at least the next 24 hours. Give me vibrations for that. Thoughts and prayers in the chat for that. Anyway, that's it. That's all I got. If you'd like to help out, support the effort, I do have a Patreon, patreon.com/IsaiahNews. Become a newsie today. Free ways to hit me up, contact me, IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any other socials. Subscribe to the YouTube. Follow on TikTok. Follow on Spotify. Follow on Apple Podcasts. Follow whatever platform you're on. It helps with the algorithm. Helps you keep up with me and whatever episodes I post. I post at random times. I wish I was like steady with it. I wish I was like on cue, but I'm not. I just, I do the shit. I post the shit. Usually how it goes. Usually after I eat my little food. But yeah. Keeps you up with me, helps out with the algorithm and whatnot. Leave a like, leave a comment. Sharing's caring, speaking of the algorithm. But I really just appreciate you listening. Algorithm be damned. I don't care if it's just a few of y'all. That's great. So, hi. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.